Well, for this week's discussion, we focus on the group theater and the American Revolution, which really takes the works of the Moscow Art Theater and uh, Strasbourg tries to transform it into a more, I guess you could say, Americanized form of realistic theatrical performance. Um, One thing I did find to be interesting is that he actually went and studied at the MAT, but only stayed for 1 year, didn't complete the 2 year course. But in reading the analysis by Brestoff, you see that he did kind of suffer for that a little bit later critically, but without his ideas of innovation, American theater would have just been a copy of what they had in the Russian theatrical area. So that I found to be pretty interesting. Another thing is just the styles of the types of acting that were used and still used today. Some of the methods involved with really getting people to evolve into the character and not just read the lines and be the character, but really transform the role. Uh, Something that stood out to me was how they actually went to zoos and were required to study animal movements and how they ate and walked around to develop a different or knowledge of their center of gravities for the animals. And I kept thinking to myself, like, how would that help someone perform in a show if they weren't performing as an animal themselves? But upon a little bit more investigation, I see that a lot of the movements when we are angry or we're sad, things of that nature can really mimic the animal kingdom. So if someone is charging at you, like they would say, like a raging bull, what would that look like? And that was something that they learned when they went to these zoos and studied animals. So having to come back to class and portray that would be something very interesting to see. I don't know if I can necessarily get my students to really grow into that type of performer because we are at the beginning high school level, but it has inspired me to post various animal videos from the zoo's habitats to kind of help them get into that same idea of that not just behaving like a person or giving what they feel would be that natural response. I'm seeing how that real primal response can be the most genuine one. Uh, the way some animals eat would be indicative of someone maybe being intoxicated or not feeling well, or maybe even a blind person. So I see that there is a lot of things that can be learned from outside observation. Um, Also, the acts of improvisation with imaginary items, having the actors expand their imagination to perform better. Now, that was also interesting because you would think, oh, there's a cup, so I should know how to pick the cup up and drink out of it. But how do you make that appear to be a normal action when you actually have no need to drink from the cup? So, this week's readings were pretty enlightening um, as far as how people behave and why we choose to study certain forms of art.